All right, guys, welcome back to another rebooking of SummerSlam. This time we're gonna look at SummerSlam 2004. 2004, it was an okay year. I thought the beginning of the year was pretty great. Eddie Guerrero winning the WWF Championship, Chris Benoit winning the Royal Rumble, and winning the World Heavyweight Championship at WrestleMania 20. Randy and Mick Foley having a great IC Championship feud, and even Eddie and JBL surprisingly had a good feud. But there's just a lot of injuries going on. Kurt was out for a bit, and a lot of people left. Obviously, Brock was gone, Goldberg was gone. Um, but Edge did return, but also Big Show, he was gone for a bit. So they did have to build new stars, which I thought they did well with Cena, Orton, Batista, and yeah, I thought it was okay. I thought SummerSlam, I thought it was okay, but it definitely could have been much better. Uh, you know, Personally, I'm not a fan of Eugene in the main event picture versus Triple H. I thought Triple H probably could have got a better opponent. What else? I don't. I also don't think JBL was ready to be WWE champion. That's just my opinion. And yeah, but I thought the main event was good, solid match. You know, Great moment, Randy becoming world champion. So aside from that, though, I thought like there was nothing really memorable on the card, and my rebooking, I'll try to make it a memorable card and have better matches. So yeah, guys, let's get into it. Here we go. First match, RVD versus JBL. So, on SmackDown, I could have JBL say, JBL, the three most powerful letters at WWE. And then RVD would come out and say, last time I checked, you ain't RVD. And then, JBL could talk about, we got potheads like RVD, wasting our economy and all that. And RVD could be like, cool, bro. How about we fight at SummerSlam? So kind of be like two different lifestyles going at it. JBL, the rich man on Wall Street. RVD, kind of the stoner, chill dude. And I think it's very important, for JBL to get the win if you want to build him up eventually to, be a main eventer. So that'd be a fun opener, and I have RVD put over JBL. Next match, Matt Hardy and Lita versus Kane. So the difference there is none of this pregnant storyline. I just thought it was stupid. Even this match, Death Do Us Part, I think it's stupid because if Matt really wants to marry Lita, why don't he just marry Lita? It is what it is. Kane, it's Kane's baby, but Lita doesn't have to marry Kane just because she has her baby. So I just thought it was a bad storyline. Made Matt Hardy look pretty bad, and yeah. So this will just kind of be where like Kane, he's trying to get with Lita. He's tormenting them, and Matt, he was a heel earlier. He turned face and come to Lita's aid, and they could you know um reignite their on-screen relationship, and yeah, it actually give Matt Hardy and Lita the win to kind of end this feud. Matt can hit the twist of fate, and Lita could get the pin with the moonsault. Just a feel good moment for the faces, and you know all three of these people can move on to something else. Then we got the six-man tag: Rey Mysterio, Paul London, and Billy Kidman versus the Dudley Boys. Same match that happened on the card. Very fun match. I like Spike becoming the boss of the Dudley Boys really saved his career because he was more like a jobber. He wasn't doing much, but now him as the boss was a cool element we never seen it in the Dudley Boys, and he would be the person calling the shots, and he'd turn heel by beating Ray for the Cruiserweight Championship after the Dudley Boys helped him. And yeah, and then Paul London and Billy Kidman were the tag champs, and they had a feud with the Dudley Boys. So I'd have them continue that, and they'd have the six-man tag match, and same result, give the Dudley Boys the win with Spike getting the pin. And the next match, we got the World Tag Team Championship match, Evolution, Ric Flair and Batista versus Eugene and William Regal. So it could kind of start with Eugene saying Triple H is his favorite wrestler and all that, and eventually Evolution they invite Eugene to join, but they turn on him. Batista and Ric Flair attack him, and William Regal, obviously he's starting to feel some sympathy for Eugene. He comes to his aid, and they make the tag match. And I think Eugene and William Regal should get the win. I think it'll be a feel good moment for Eugene, to win the championship in the WWE, and for Regal as well. He kind of had some health issues the year prior, so for them to come together, especially when Regal, he kind of didn't like Eugene in the beginning, but now they built a friendship, and Evolution would have a good reign as well. So I think it'd be good, and it kind of moves Batista to other things, if you know what I mean. So yeah. Then we got the U.S. Championship match: John Cena versus Charlie Haas. What? Charlie Haas? You guys might be saying, but I think it'd be a good match. John Cena and Kurt Angle, they kind of had some issues. Cena got stripped by Kurt Angle and all that. But here, just have Kurt Angle say, it's a disgrace that John Cena is the U.S. champion when he's a disgrace to America. He's a street thug and all that. And he's gonna introduce, a pure American wrestler, Charlie Haas. And Charlie Haas is gonna win the U.S. title for America. And yeah, you can have Cena, throwing shots at Charlie Haas, saying, Shelter was better than you and all that. So in some freestyle raps and all that. So it'll be a good match. And have Cena retain. Cena was super hot as U.S. champion. I kind of think of it as Ultimate Warrior when he was Intercontinental champion, before he eventually won the big one the next year. So I think Cena would have a nice lengthy reign with it, and yeah, it should be a solid match. All right, next up we got the Intercontinental Championship match. I'd actually have Chris Jericho be the one to end Randy's reign. I know in real life Edge did, but I'd have Jericho do that. And yeah, the build to this is Randy. He's invoking his rematch clause at SummerSlam. He wants to, be able to become IC champion again and World Heavyweight champion at the same night. So that's kind of the build to this until the match comes, and Batista comes out. He says, Randy realizes how important it is to win the World Heavyweight champion, and he chose me as a substitute. And yeah, so, and I actually have Batista win the Intercontinental Championship. Again, like I was talking about with John Cena, he became a main eventer, but he had to hold the mid card title for a bit. I feel like this would help Batista as well, him holding the IC title, because we know eventually what happens. He becomes a main eventer the next year and becomes World Heavyweight Champion. So I think it's only right, the evolution, no pun intended, of Batista starting as a tag team guy, and he becomes a mid card champion, and eventually he becomes the man. So yeah, and yeah, it's a great heel win because Jericho, he obviously wasn't expecting Batista. And Batista's just super dominant, and he overpowers Jericho and gets a clean win. No help from Flair, just a clean win, and slowly builds his confidence. So even though he loses the tag titles earlier, he's now the new Intercontinental Champion. And then we got Eddie Guerrero versus Kurt Angle. The same match that happened. I thought it was a great build where, Kurt Angle was masked and he kind of cost Eddie Guerrero the championship in a steel cage match. I'd have that same thing happen, but it'll be Eddie versus a different champion, not JBL. And yeah, Kurt Angle could get fired as GM. Same thing like that. Eddie could steal his stuff from the GM office and sell them out. That was pretty funny. And also, what was funny is when Eddie and Vince were in the lowrider, and Vince was kind of shocked at how fast the lowrider was going. That's pretty funny. And yeah, I think it'll be a great match, rematch from WrestleMania 20. I give Kurt Angle the win, to even the series 1-1, and they could kind of have a blow off match down the line, which is pretty much what happened. I believe they did have like a lumberjack blow off match or something like that. But yeah, so definitely be a good match, and might be the best match of the night. Who knows? Then we got Edge versus Triple H. So this will be kind of the feud. I'd have Edge versus Randy. I'd have Evolution kind of cost Edge the IC championship, and then when Triple H is fighting Chris Benoit, actually have Edge spear Triple H. get his revenge on Evolution, saying, he's saying he's sick and tired of Evolution running Raw, and to get rid of it, he has to start with the man Triple H. So, and then Triple H could throw shots at Edge, saying like, you were on SmackDown before you're on Raw. You're a tag team guy. You're never gonna be as great as the game and all that. And Edge, he'll come back saying, "Yeah, but I also didn't need as much backup as you, and you know, and having other people do my fights, do my bidding, and yeah, be a good match." I felt like these two didn't have as much matches as I thought. It's usually been Triple H and Orton, but I think Triple H and Edge would have a good match, fun match. Triple H would win, and I think it'll slowly kind of build the Edge heel turn where he realizes, he needs to get a little more grimier to become what Triple H said, a main eventer. So it slowly builds the Edge heel turn, and Triple H gets a quality win after putting Benoit over for the most part of the year. Then we got the WWE Championship match, Booker T versus The Undertaker. So instead of JBL, I'd actually have Booker T defeat Eddie Guerrero at the Great American Bash. And also to note that the Booker T Undertaker match at Judgment Day doesn't happen, so this match will feel a little more special. And yeah, Booker T could be bragging about he runs SmackDown. He's the man on SmackDown. That's why he said SmackDown was the little leagues. Look how easy it was for him to become champion. Then Undertaker comes out. Undertaker, he's the heart and soul of SmackDown. He challenges Booker at SummerSlam, and that's the match. And Booker, Undertaker could play mind games with Booker, and Booker could be like running away, scared, and all that stuff. But Booker T could say, I'm not scared of the Undertaker. You keep claiming that, but every time Taker comes out, um, you know, he'd start running and all that. So slowly, there was the anticipation for Taker to get his hands on Book, and I'd actually have Undertaker win the WWE Championship. I felt like Undertaker, he deserved more run as a world champion, especially in SmackDown 2004, where there's not really a top dog, aside from Eddie Guerrero. Important to note that Eddie Guerrero didn't want to hold the title anymore, because like his mental health reasons, which is actually why I'd have Booker win to get it off him. And if Eddie was fine, I'd actually have Eddie and Angle be the title match. But obviously, we got to respect Eddie's mental health. So Booker wins, and I'll give the torch to Undertaker. Let him run with it on SmackDown. He could have great feuds. There's a lot of heels again on SmackDown. Like I said, Booker T, JBL, Kurt Angle. So I think, yeah, it'd be pretty cool for Undertaker to win the title at SummerSlam. And then we got the World Heavyweight Championship, the main event. Randy Orton challenging Chris Benoit. Kind of have the same match. The only thing is I'd have Randy kind of win a tournament rather than a battle royal to become number one contender. I feel like battle royal is kind of like, man, anyone could win it. I feel like a tournament really shows the grind to get to a title match. And yeah, Chris Benoit, he's becoming kind of a living legend. In 2004 when he faces a legend killer, and obviously Randy's fresh. He didn't fight for the IC championship. Um, because he wants to focus on the big one. And Chris Benoit can say, you could have your women, you could have your fame, you could call yourself the legend killer, but you're not the man until you hold this title. Kind of get in Randy's head. He stops being cocky and arrogant, and he becomes more focused. Because he wants to prove that he is the man. He is what he says he is, the legend killer of the future. And yeah, you know. Chris Benoit even says, I should dare you not to bring evolution out. And Randy accepts, kind of like shocking Triple H and Ric Flair, like, what is this guy talking about? Why would you do that? But, Randy says he got it. And then, yeah, have the same match. I thought it was an awesome match. Almost pretty much a 4-star match that happened at SummerSlam. And just like we know Randy, RKO out of nowhere gets the win. Youngest world champion in history. Only thing I'd change is no face turn after the title win. Randy becomes the man in evolution. Slowly, builds a dissension in evolution, and yeah. So that is my SummerSlam, guys. Uh, Let me know what you guys think of the card, and Let me run down through the card right now. So, opener RVD versus JBL, Matt Hardy and Lita versus Kane, Rey Mysterio, Paul London, and Billy Kidman versus the Dudley Boyz, the World Tag Team Championship, Evolution versus Eugene and William Regal, for the US Championship, John Cena versus Charlie Haas, for the Intercontinental Championship, Batista versus Chris Jericho, Eddie Guerrero versus Kurt Angle, Edge versus Triple H, WWE Championship, Booker T versus The Undertaker, and for the World Heavyweight Championship, Chris Benoit versus Randy Orton. Thank you guys for listening, and peace.